My video for May the 15th, 2019 is video number 3086. Yes, I had to look because I couldn't tell whether that was a 6 or an 8. And the title of the video is The Trap That Enslaves Us. Today I share important quotes from Information Clearinghouse. Quote, "This focus on money and power may do wonders in the marketplace, but it creates a tremendous crisis in our society. People who have spent all day learning how to sell themselves and to manipulate others are in no position to form lasting friendships or intimate relationships. Many Americans hunger for a different kind of society, one based on principles of caring, ethical and spiritual sensitivity, and communal solidarity. That need for meaning is just as intense as their need for economic security." End quote, Michael Lerner. Another quote, "A person will worship something, have no doubt about that. We may think our tribute is paid in secret in the dark recesses of our hearts, but it will out. That which dominates our imaginations and our thoughts will determine our lives and our character. Therefore, it behooves us to be careful what we worship. For what we are worshiping, we are becoming." End quote, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Another quote, "The essence of immorality is the tendency to make an exception of myself." End quote, Jane Addams. I get Information Clearinghouse articles sent to me all the time, and I have often posted on Facebook some of the quotes. This is the first time, I think, that I've made a video actually using those quotes, although it may not be. I may just not remember when I did it last. But in any case, the focus on money has long been a means of enslavement. I mean, I know I've said that in other videos, because initially, so the story goes, humanity was enslaved by a race of extraterrestrials that thought that they were superior to everyone else, and everyone worked as slaves. And one time, one of the leaders went undercover and went into the prison to find out what the slaves were thinking, and actually worked with the slaves for a short time prior to that discovery, and was just listening to what was going on. And some of the slaves were planning to break out and liberate themselves and get away from the slave masters. And the solution was, okay, slaves, we have decided we're going to set you all free, and you're not going to have to work for nothing anymore. We're going to pay you for working for us. So now you will be able to live free, and you will be paid for the work that you perform." And the slaves were happy. And I wish I could say, and they lived happily ever after. But the controllers still maintained the slavery system. Now the chains or the bars or the means of enslavement was money. Money is still a means of enslavement. People that no longer need money, or people that have never needed money, can pretty much be free to do what they want. And the so-called elite class can get away with all sorts of things that would be considered crimes if you and I did them. But when they commit these atrocious acts against children and against others, they can do it without paying any price at all, because they have set up a monetary system and a legal system and a political system and a religious system where they are exonerated and able to get away with doing anything they want. And Ralph Waldo Emerson is right, that sooner or later this comes out. And I'd like to believe that there is an awakening going on, and the truth about these things is finally available to people, and people are finally beginning to wake up. There are no exceptions, though. If we don't wake up, we remain enslaved. Now, I have longed for the kingdom of heaven on earth, and I've talked about that in many videos. And that involves an awakening where the masses of people all of a sudden realize the truth, and they simply stop working for money and start sharing. But of course, I've also been in political movements that were supposed to bring back the Republic for the United States of America. I was involved in Swiss Indo, which also promised to enrich those that were had an agenda for telling the truth and an agenda for liberating humanity. And I've been a part of no groups at all, or just small little discussion groups where people want people to be set free. And we have to know the truth in order to be set free. We cannot continue to live in this enslaved by lies and enslaved by a monetary system that was created for the purpose of control. And how do we know it was created for the purpose of control? Because the people that are at the top of the heap have no morals, have no ethical values. All it's about for them is control, control, control. And they have no problem with lying to people and enslaving people by whatever means they can. And the lies are getting evident, but also what's getting evident is the polarization between people that serve the dark agenda and people that want to do right. So there's a war and a clash that's constantly going on, and there's no peace on earth, and people can't love one another. And as what's his name again? I forgot. Michael Lerner. He said people can no longer form loving and lasting relationships because of the constant friction of ideologies that even take place within husband and wife teams and within families. You know, everything in society that could be cohesive and bring us together is doing the exact opposite because of all of the lies and the money situation that separates people. I mean, I lost one of my marriages because of money, because both of us were put in a situation where we had to struggle to survive economically. And my second wife, last wife, could not accept that and had a real issue with it. And then she says, I still love you, but we've got to get a divorce. And there was nothing I could do about it. We have to change. We have to rise above these control methods somehow, some way, if we're going to be free. And it's my purpose, my mission, to do whatever I can to help liberate people, which is why I've been politically involved, which is why I was the Secretary of State of the attempt to reestablish the Republic for the United States of America. Not the Republic of, but the Republic for States United, that had individual states' rights and honored individual people's rights. But that's just simply not the world that we live in. It's not the United States. It's not the European Union, and it's not the agenda of those elite players that still want humanity enslaved and still want to keep us bound by a monetary system that enriches those who have no morals, no ethics, and impoverishes those that do. Something has to change. Something has to give, or humanity will be doomed. I don't want to be a doom and gloom preacher. But by the same token, I want us to awaken somehow, and I'd like as much help from whatever sources are available universally, and I'm talking about spiritual forces of good, to overcome the wickedness of the elite. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.